When a food crisis hits, you have 96 hours. That is it. 96 hours before the grocery stores look like a disaster movie. 96 hours before the items on this list triple in price, if you can find them at all. In 2020, rice sold out in 72 hours. Canning lids disappeared for 6 months, seeds gone in 2 weeks. Toilet paper sales jumped 845% in a single week. The people who had these 11 items before March 2020 did not panic. They did not fight for the last bag of flour. They watched the chaos from their kitchen window while everyone else scrambled. Tonight I am giving you their list. 11 items, most cost less than $20. Some cost less than $5, but after the 96-hour window closes, money will not help you. You either have these 11 things or you do not. And here is what nobody tells you. This is not about stockpiling years of food. This is about 11 specific items that multiply everything else you have. Miss even one of them and your entire preparation falls apart. Let us start with the item that most people do not even think about until it is too late. Number 1. Heirloom seeds. The first item is heirloom seeds, not hybrid seeds from the garden center. Not the packets with the pretty pictures, heirloom seeds, open pollinated. The kind your great-grandmother saved every harvest. Here is why this matters. In April 2020, seed companies across America did something unprecedented. They stopped taking orders. Demand exploded so fast they could not fulfill shipments. Some varieties were backordered for the entire growing season. The difference between heirloom seeds and hybrid seeds is simple. Hybrid seeds produce once, you eat the tomato, and that is the end. Heirloom seeds produce tomatoes that contain seeds you can save and replant next year. And the year after, and the year after that. One packet of heirloom tomato seeds, about $3, can produce tomatoes for the rest of your life if you learn to save seeds properly. Your canned food will run out. Your rice will eventually disappear, but seeds? Seeds are the only prep that regenerates. The only investment that grows. The best survival seeds to stock are tomatoes, beans, squash, corn, potatoes, and leafy greens. Stored properly in a cool, dark place, most seeds last 3 to 10 years. Some last even longer. Get them now, because in the 96-hour window, seeds vanish first. Number TWO canning supplies. The second item is canning supplies. Mason jars, lids, and if you are serious, a pressure canner. Most people do not know this, but America has had two major canning lid shortages in the past 50 years. The first was 1975. The New York Times reported that housewives traveled from store to store finding empty shelves. Black market prices for lids. The shortage lasted months. The second was 2020. NPR ran a story titled, quote, "The latest COVID-19 shortage is canning lids," end quote. History repeated itself exactly 45 years later. Here is what you need to understand. The jars are reusable. You can use the same mason jar for 20, 30, even 50 years. But the lids, single use. Once you seal a jar, that lid cannot be resealed safely. During World War II, 315,000 pressure cookers were sold in 1943 alone. Families who could preserve their harvest survived rationing. Families who could not went hungry. One jar of properly canned food lasts 1 to 5 years on the shelf. No refrigeration, no electricity, just food waiting for you when you need it. Stock jars, stock lids, many lids, and learn to use them before you need them. Number 3, manual grain mill. The third item is a manual grain mill, a hand grinder, no electricity required. Here is a fact that changes everything about food storage. Wheat berries, whole wheat kernels, last 25 to 30 years when stored properly. But flour, ground wheat, 3 to 12 months before it goes rancid and loses nutrition. This means if you are storing flour, you are storing something that expires. But if you store wheat berries and own a grain mill, you have bread for 3 decades. The nutrition difference is massive too. The moment wheat is ground into flour, it begins losing vitamins. Within 24 hours, significant nutrients are gone. This is why store-bought flour is enriched. They have to add back what grinding removed. Fresh ground flour from whole wheat berries gives you the complete nutrition. The fiber, the vitamins, the way humans ate grain for thousands of years before industrial milling. A quality hand grain mill costs between $50 and $300. 25 pounds of wheat berries costs about $15 to $25 and provides roughly 50 loaves of bread. No electricity, no supply chain, just you, the mill, and enough grain to last years. Number FOU or salt. The fourth item is salt. 25 pounds of it, maybe 50. Salt has an infinite shelf life when stored dry. It does not expire. It does not go bad. It just sits there waiting to save your life. The Roman Empire paid soldiers in salt. The word salary comes from the Latin word sal, meaning salt. Wars were fought over salt mines. Trade routes existed solely to move salt across continents. Why? Because before refrigeration, salt was the only way to preserve meat and vegetables through winter. No salt meant no preserved food. No preserved food meant starvation when the harvest ended. During World War II, salt was rationed in some regions. Families who had stockpiled salt could preserve vegetables from their victory gardens. Families who had not watched food rot. Salt is also essential for your body, electrolytes, muscle function, hydration. In a crisis where you are sweating, working, stressed, you need salt. 25 pounds costs about $5. It takes up minimal space, it lasts forever, and without it, you cannot preserve anything. This is the easiest item on the list, no excuse not to have it. Number 5. Cooking fats and oils. The fifth item is cooking fats and oils. And most people store the wrong ones. Vegetable oil lasts 12 to 18 months unopened. Olive oil lasts 18 to 24 months. But lard and vegetable shortening like Crisco? Properly sealed and stored in a cool dark place 10 years or more. Coconut oil is another excellent choice. It resists going rancid far longer than most plant oils. 2 or more years easily. Here is why fats matter beyond cooking. Fat contains 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbohydrates contain only 4 calories per gram. In a crisis where calories are scarce, fat is the most efficient fuel you can store. Fats are also essential for absorbing vitamins. Vitamins D, E, and K are fat-soluble. Without fat in your diet, your body cannot use them properly. You could eat vegetables all day and still become malnourished without fat. The biggest mistake people make is storing only olive oil because it seems healthy. Olive oil goes rancid faster than almost any other option. For long-term storage, you want saturated fats, lard, tallow, coconut oil, shortening. Stock at least 10 to 20 pounds of stable fats. Rotate them. Use the oldest first. But always keep a reserve that could last 6 months to a year. Number 6. Honey. The sixth item is honey. Real honey, not the syrup in the bear-shaped bottle. Honey is the only food that never expires. Archaeologists have found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs, still edible. The antibacterial properties of honey prevent any bacteria or mold from growing inside it. This makes honey invaluable for 3 reasons. First, it is a concentrated energy source. Pure sugar that your body can use immediately. Second, it has medicinal properties. Honey has been used for wound healing for thousands of years. It soothes your throats. It fights infection topically. Third, and this is critical, honey cannot be replicated. You can make sugar from beets. You can press oil from seeds, but honey requires bees. In a long-term crisis, honey becomes irreplaceable. During World War II, sugar was the first item rationed in America, January 1942. Families with honey had sweetener when sugar rations ran out. Buy honey in glass jars when possible. Plastic can leach over decades. Store it in a cool, dark place. It may crystallize over time, but that does not mean it has gone bad. Warm it gently and it liquefies again. 5 to 10 pounds of honey costs $20 to $50 and lasts literally forever. Number 7. Powdered milk. The seventh item is powdered milk, specifically non-fat powdered milk. Whole powdered milk contains fat, and fat goes rancid within a year. But non-fat powdered milk stored in a cool place lasts 3 to 5 years. Packaged in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, it can last 10 to 25 years. In 2020, fresh milk experienced shortages due to supply chain disruptions. Dairy farmers dumped milk while store shelves sat empty. The system broke in both directions at once. Powdered milk solves this. No refrigeration required. No expiration within days, just protein, calcium, and nutrition sitting on your shelf waiting. Beyond drinking, powdered milk is essential for cooking and baking. Bread recipes, soups, sauces, anywhere you need milk, powdered milk works. One important note, powdered milk must be stored away from light and heat. Heat dramatically shortens shelf life. The difference between storing at 55 degrees versus 85 degrees can be the difference between 20 years and 2 years. A number 10 can of powdered milk provides roughly 20 quarts of milk and costs $15 to $30 depending on brand and quality. Stock several cans, your family will thank you. Number 8. Water purification. The eighth item is water purification. Tablets, filters, or the knowledge to use household bleach. You can survive 3 weeks without food. You cannot survive 3 days without water. And in a crisis, municipal water systems fail. Pipes break, pumps lose power, contamination enters the supply. Water purification tablets use iodine or chlorine dioxide to kill bacteria and viruses. 1 tablet treats 1 quart of water. A bottle of 50 tablets costs $5 to $10 and can provide 50 quarts of safe drinking water. Filters like LifeStraw or Sawyer products filter between 1,000 and 100,000 gallons depending on the model. They remove bacteria and parasites physically rather than chemically. The cheapest backup is unscented household bleach. 8 drops per gallon. Let it sit 30 minutes. The chlorine kills pathogens. This is official guidance from the Environmental Protection Agency. Tablets have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years unopened. Stock several bottles, rotate them. And no multiple methods, because if one fails, you need a backup. You need 1 gallon of water per person per day. For a family of 4, that is 28 gallons per week. Storing that much is difficult. Purify in limited water is the real solution. Number 9. Rice and beans. The 9th item is rice and beans. Together, not one or the other. Here is the nutrition secret that kept civilizations alive. Rice is missing certain amino acids. Beans are missing different amino acids. But together, rice and beans form a complete protein. Every essential amino acid your body needs. This is why rice and beans appear in virtually every traditional cuisine. Mexican rice and beans, Caribbean rice and peas, South American rice and lentils, Indian rice and dal. Our ancestors figured this out through trial and survival. White rice stored in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers lasts 25 to 30 years. Dried beans last 10 to 30 years under the same conditions. Brown rice lasts only 1 to 2 years because the oils in the bran go rancid. 1 pound of rice plus 1 pound of beans provides approximately 3,200 calories. At current prices, that is roughly $2 to $3. The cheapest calories per dollar you can store. 20 pounds of rice and 20 pounds of beans costs about $40 to $50 and provides enough calories for 1 person for over a month. Start here. This is the foundation. Everything else on this list enhances rice and beans, but rice and beans keep you alive. Number 10. Manual can opener. The 10th item is a manual can opener. And yes, this is on the list for a reason. In 2020, people had basements full of canned goods, vegetables, beans, soups, meat, enough to last months. Then the power went out, and they realized their electric can opener was useless. This sounds ridiculous until you are standing in your kitchen, holding a can of beans you cannot open. Then it becomes a crisis within a crisis. A manual can opener costs $3 to $15. It weighs a few ounces. It requires no batteries, no electricity, no maintenance, and it lasts decades. The military version, the P38, costs about $2, fits on a keychain, and has opened millions of cans since World War II by two. Put one in your kitchen, put one in your emergency kit. Never think about it again until the moment it saves you. This is the $2 item that makes your entire canned food stockpile accessible. Without it, those cans become paperweights. Number 11, basic medications. The 11th item is basic medications. Over-the-counter and prescription if possible. In 2022, the United States experienced record drug shortages. 86 essential medicines were identified as vulnerable to supply chain disruption. This is not speculation. This is documented by the Department of Health and Human Services. The medications to stock are straightforward. Pain relievers, ibuprofen, and acetaminophen. These have a shelf life of 2 to 3 years and treat pain, fever, and inflammation. Antihistamines like diphenhydramine for allergic reactions. Anti-diarrheal medication like loperamide, because in a crisis, dehydration from diarrhea kills. Topical antibiotics like Neosporin for wound care, antacids for digestive issues. Hydrocortisone cream for skin irritation and allergic reactions. If you take prescription medications, talk to your doctor about obtaining a 90-day supply. Explain that you want emergency reserves. Most doctors will write the prescription. Store medications in a cool, dark, dry place. Heat and humidity degrade them faster than anything else. Check expiration dates and rotate stock. The Mayo Clinic recommends these exact categories for emergency preparedness. When pharmacies close or supply chains break, the medications in your cabinet become the only medications available. You now have the list. 11 items: heirloom seeds, canning supplies, a manual grain mill, salt, cooking fats, honey, powdered milk, water purification, rice, and beans. A manual can opener, basic medications. None of these are expensive. Most are available at your local grocery store or online right now, today, before the next crisis hits. But here is what history teaches us. The 96-hour window is real. In 2020, rice sold out in 72 hours. Canning lids disappeared for 6 months. Seeds were backordered until the following season. The people who had these items before March 2020 did not scramble. They did not panic. They did not fight strangers over the last bag of flour in a chaotic store at midnight. They had already prepared, quietly, affordably, without telling anyone. The next food crisis is not a question of if, it is a question of when. 1975 had a canning lid shortage. 2020 had empty shelves nationwide. History repeats, and each time, the same items disappear first. You have the list now, the choice is yours. Prepare today when everything is available and affordable, or scramble tomorrow when the 96-hour window has already closed. The items are waiting. The question is, will you be ready when everyone else is not?